Hey everybody, welcome to today's tutorial. So what we're going to be looking at today is some particle effects. Now, particle effects in After Effects are very versatile. You can use them for all sorts of things. So what I thought I'd do today is just do a short, fairly straightforward tutorial on a basic thing, which is going to be, let me show you just quickly what it's going to be. So this is some footage that I filmed out the window of my old apartment in Charlton Kings, and we're just going to be adding some snow. And you can see there's two different types of snow that I've included in this image. We've got this sort of thick snow flurry kind of effect, and then also more of a sort of sleety, cold kind of, almost kind of like rain kind of effect. So that's what we're going to be doing today in for today's introduction to particle effects, and then you can kind of shoot your own footage and you can start using particle effects yourself for all sorts of things. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to import our clip first of all. I shall rename this by the time you download it, and I'm going to drag it down onto my composition. And so here's our composition now with our footage. So here's what we're going to do then. I mean, first of all, I've changed my work area because I've got lots of sort of stuff in the front here which I don't really need. I just want this sort of this pan, as it were, across the window. Okay, so that's my work area. That's what I'm going to be working with. So what we're going to do first of all is I'm going to duplicate this footage a couple of times. So remember, on a Mac that's Command and D. I'm not quite sure what it is on a PC, but you can still just go into the file and duplicate. And so I'm going to highlight this and right click on it to rename it, and this one's going to be main, and I'm going to right click on this one. This one's going to be fallen snow, and this one is going to be window. Okay, so what we're going to do with the window one is we're basically going to cut out these window frame bits so that we can kind of see the effect outside the window and not going in front of these window bars. It's easy to do that though a bit later on once we've actually got the effect in place so we can see what we're up to. So we're going to turn this off for now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do then is we're going to create our scene to make it look like we've got some sort of snow sitting on the ground. And it's quite an effective way and very simple way of doing this. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our fallen snow layer here. Okay, and first of all we're going to go up to Effect, and we're going to go to Color Correction and Tint. Now within Tint, obviously what this done is just make it black and white so far, because it's asking us, well, what colour do you want to tint it? So what we're going to do is we're going to tint this to just a slightly off-white kind of colour. So just a sort of, you know, not super blue, because that's going to be too much. Just a sort of a hint of bluey grey. Okay, so something a bit like that. All right then. The other thing that we're going to do then is we're now going to go to Effect and Color Correction, and we're going to go to, where is it? Levels. There we are. And within levels, what we're going to do is we're going to try and adjust the contrast of this so it really kind of looks quite white and bloomy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little levels like that. We're going to sort of boost that a little bit like so, and bring this in so it's a sort of you know, and we can perhaps already even start to see that we're starting to get a sort of grey scale kind of effect on roofs, and it's picking out bits of white, like white on these sort of boards and bits and bobs like that. Okay, and this is effectively how you add your snow. You're going to be adjusting this later on. Okay, now what you need to do now is come down to here. This is your transfer mode. If you can't see this, you need to go down to here to toggle switches and modes. So you might see that with the little guy peering over the wall and all this sort of the pick whip and that sort of thing. Okay, we're going to now go back to this mode where you've got your transfer modes, and we're going to go. Now there's some debate about this. If you see other people's tutorials, they will often say to go to lighten. The problem I have with lighten is it does look alright, but it kind of, I don't know, to me it makes the colours look a bit funny, almost like it's sort of infrared film or something. I personally prefer just going to screen, which sort of it looks a little bit more sophisticated. It just depends on what you fancy really. But already, as you can see, we're starting to get a bit more of a sort of a wintry looking scene there, like that, with a bit more sort of like cold and icy kind of look. Okay, and as I say, what you can do is making sure you're on fallen snow, you can now sort of adjust your white, you know, how much white and how much snow you want within your scene, that sort of thing. Yeah. Okay, so far so good. What I might do as well at this stage is I might just go on to main and I might add a colour correction effect here. I could go into some curves. What I'm going to do just to begin with is I'm just going to add a bit more saturation, because while obviously a wintry scene it does look a bit more desaturated, I do also want to sort of just bring out some of those colours a little bit as well, just so that we can really still see them when we get the snow effect going on and that sort of thing. Okay. Now, something else that might work, depending on your scene really, I think mine kind of looks all right at the moment, but you might want to do this depending on your scene, is you might want to go into Effect, and you might want to go into Stylize and Glow. Now this is going to sort of add a bit of a sort of, you know, a bloomy kind of light effect, and you're probably not going to want that a great deal, you know what I mean? It's not it doesn't look particularly effective at the moment. But if we go to the glow threshold and we sort of dial that down quite significantly, wrong direction, you know, dial that down quite significantly, then we can sort of get a slightly more sort of snowy effect that when you've got, you know, like that sort of thing, maybe a little bit. I mean, you know, it's up to you. It's up to you how much you feel like you want to make that. How much sort of sparkle you might want, and there's various other ways of adding sparkle in bits and pieces to your snow effect as well. There we go. So that might just be something you might want to try. As I say, for my scene at the moment, I'm not sure it's really doing a great deal. One of the things that I probably will do, actually, if I'm going to keep this glow effect, is I might just zoom out just ever so slightly so I can see my full scene, and I'm going to get a rectangle and just drag that down to the top of the sort of this backdrop here, and then I'm going to go into, so that's my mask, I'm going to set that to subtract, and what that's going to do is it's going to leave the glow effect here but not so much on the backdrop. And then what I'm going to do is, just because obviously at the moment that's a hard line, I'm then going to go into my mask and my feather, and I'm just going to feather that edge so it just sort of, you know, creates that slightly more snowy effect, and I've still got my sky detail. We're going to lose the sky detail later on because obviously that doesn't look quite right at the moment, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So that's our composition so far then. If I leave that bloom effect on ever so slightly, then that kind of, yeah, there we go. Okay. So far so good. So the next thing we're going to do then is we're going to add some snow. So what we're going to do with the snow effect is we're going to go to Layer, and we're going to go to New and Solid. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do actually, rather than doing this now, you can tell I haven't really planned this. This was a sort of ad hoc tutorial. Because I know these videos are like, they take a long time to kind of go through and stuff like that, I'm actually going to stop this video now, and then we'll come back and we'll add snow in a minute. Okay?